Good morning. Welcome to Bellingham Unitarian Fellowship. I'm Reverend Paul Beckel. I'm joined today by Pam Graham, Andrea Rackel, Caitlin Davis, Henry O'Connor, Zoe Bronstein, John Jersica, Sarah Pearson, Eloise Reynolds, Corey Horton, Claire Lending, Jeff Copeland, Quinn Williams, Walt Ellis, Mark Allen, Jim Reimer running Zoom from home, Annie Sorich, Scott Hayes, Barbara Tenhove, Jocko Tenhove, Jesse Reynolds, Lucy Major, Linda Twitchell, Carrie Kenline, Judy Casper, Dick Casper, Murray Bennett, Lee Seaman, Brian Quick, Rupert Ayton. And all of the people behind the scenes in these people's lives, supporting them so that they can have time to support you by serving buff this morning. And there are more I don't even know, who will be with you at coffee hour, trying to make you feel home, those on Zoom who are making each other at home. This is our humble offering of love to you, whether you've been here for decades or you're here today for the first time. And in gratitude, I recall that this gathering could not possibly take place without all of you.
Good morning. At the chalice lighting, we invite you to reflect on what that means for you. I've come to know the lighting of the chalice as a ritual we Unitarian Universalists do when we come together. Among other things, it's meant to remind us that we belong. We belong in this moment of time. We belong in this space. We belong in this place. We belong to the earth, and we belong to the heavens. We belong to one another. Wherever we are, at a meeting, at a gathering, at homes, or on Zoom, the lighting of the chalice reminds us that this belonging is a sanctuary. Not just the building we gather in, but the attitude with which we gather, with which we hold ourselves and one another. We create a sanctuary where we can have confidence that our humanity, our sense of self, our dignity will be respected, honored, and even cherished. In knowing that, we have a confidence. We are able to live our lives authentically and in the service of offering sanctuary to others. Sanctuary by the way we live our individual and collective lives. Our lives here at Buff as beloved community and in our families and in the wider community of humanity. And as Paul lights the chalice, please recite with me our covenant. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service gives it life. Celebrating our diversity and joined by a quest for truth, we work for peace and honor all creation. This is our covenant.
Morning, everyone. I'm Barbara Tenhove, and I am very happy to lead us in singing a wonderful hymn called Gathered Here. And this hymn was written by Phil Porter, who helped to develop Interplay, was a religious professional and a wonderful person. The way we're going to do this, we have some choir members who are going to come forward and help. We're going to ask that you not look at your hymnal, but I'm going to sing it for you first by myself so you can hear the tune. And this is Andrea, and I'd like to invite the children over here to pay attention to what Andrea is doing. She's the lady behind the piano. And then there's a fellow over there in a drum. And if you're interested in looking at the drum, I bet it'd be all right to walk over there and look at the drum. Okay, so Jocko's playing the drum. So the song goes like this. Give me that note again. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit, draw near. Now I bet that you all can sing that song even if all you do is go la, 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 which is perfectly fine. So how we're going to do this is we're going to all sing it together once, and then we're going to break into I think we'll do just 2 parts of a round, but we'll sing it through twice, choir members. So we're doing it slightly different than we were doing it the other night. All together once, in a round twice.
I bet they can even do it while they're standing.
And I was going to get there, Paul. Yeah, okay. Why don't we rise in body or spirit? So here we go. So all together once, and then we'll start the round over here and the second round over here. Here we go. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit, draw. Now we're going to do this section over here. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in the struggle and power, Spirit, draws near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in the struggle and power, Spirit, draws near. Spirit, draw near. How beautiful was that? Thank you.
All those additional people that I didn't mention in the beginning. One I particularly take for granted, Genia, Alan Schmid. Okay, so story for children and above. One morning, a little bear named Julia was getting ready for school. Her father, took a loaf of fresh bread out of the oven. "Can I have a piece?" said Julia. "The bread is too hot now," said her father, "but you can have some when you get home." "With honey on top?" asked Julia. "Yes," said his father, "with lots of honey on top." "Okay," said Julia, and she hurried off to school. That day, at school, she painted a picture of her father. When the bell rang, she decided to take it home. On the way, she stopped to show the picture to Owl. "I love it," said Owl, "but you made the eyes too small." "I have my paint box with me," said Julia. "Maybe I can fix that." "Fine work," said Owl. At the riverbank, Julia showed the picture to Alligator. "I just love it," said Alligator, "but the mouth needs to be much bigger." "How's that?" asked Julia. "Much better," said Alligator. Then a little way down the path, Julia met Rabbit and showed her the picture. "I love it," said Rabbit, "but the ears are too short." "Oh, that's easy to fix," said Julia. "How's that?" asked Julia. "Oh, wonderful." When Ben showed Elephant her picture, Elephant said, "I love it, but the nose is too small." Once again, Julia took out her paints. "How's that?" asked Julia. "Unforgettable," said the Elephant. Then Julia showed the picture to her friend Lion. "Lion? Oh. I love it," said Lion. "But the hair, where's the hair?" "Oh, yes, it's got to have a nice fluffy mane. Yes, absolutely. And now, oh gosh, now? Yeah, I love it. I think it's a picture to be proud of." When Ben was almost home, Julia was almost home, she saw Giraffe and showed Giraffe her picture. "I love it," said Giraffe, "but the neck is way too short." "How's that?" asked Julia. "Perfect," said Giraffe. Julia ran the rest of the way home. When she got there, she said to her dad, "Look, I made a picture of you." "Oh my gosh, I love it," said her dad. "Just the way it is?" asked Julia. "Just the way it is," said her dad. And he hung it up on the refrigerator. And then he gave her a thick slice of bread with lots of honey on top. And that's the end of our story today. And you may wish to go off to your classrooms, or your parents may wish for you to stay, whatever.
already got a head start on my presentation because we've been smiling all morning. What I'd like to do this morning is invite you here and all of those on Zoom to take a moment and get very comfortable in whatever position you're currently in. Feel your body settling in, settling down in this moment as I lead you through a simple yet transformational meditation referred to as the Inner Smile Meditation. And if you're comfortable, closing your eyes will be less distracting. So I invite you to breathe deeply and relax deeply. Let your shoulders drop. Take another breath and return to your normal breathing. Think of something that brings a smile to your lips. It could be anything. A memory, a picture, a story, a taste or a smell, even a piece of music. A gentle lifting of the corners of your mouth is sufficient. Notice how that smile feels, how it changes the feeling of your mouth, your cheeks, even your closed eyes. Feel the smile across your entire face, across your forehead, down the bridge of your nose, along the sides of your face, and in your jaw. Take a nice breath. Feel the smile now travel down your neck, across your collarbone to your shoulders, down your upper arms, through your elbows, down to your wrists, and through your hands. Breathe that feeling in. Now gently bring the smile back up your wrists and arms into your chest, letting the smile travel down your chest, warming the front and back of your body. Feel it as it moves down across your ribs, down into your pelvis, outwards toward your hips, down each leg. Feel as the smile moves past your thighs, knees, down your shins and ankles, into your feet. Now inhale that smile all the way from your toes back to your nose and take a breath. And as you exhale, feel that you're breathing the smile down through your trachea and into your lungs. Feel the smile in the walls of your lungs where it's absorbed into your bloodstream and moves into your heart. Feel your smile throughout your body as your heart beats, moving your smile into your stomach, large intestine, small intestine, through your kidneys and reproductive organs. Breathe that in. Gently draw your smile back up the body to your head and feel it radiating and warming your brain. Then moving down the spinal column and out through the network of nerves, feeling every part of your body smiling at the same time. Feel your smile expand out of your body, filling the space around you and creating a field of peace and well-being. Healing, loving energies surrounding your whole body. I invite you to be with that for a moment. And now, as you take your next breath, breathe in deeply and exhale. Do that a couple of times. And with your final exhale, begin to wiggle your toes and your fingers. Gently open your eyes, focusing on your lap and your hands. Then move your focus to the head in front of you or to the Zoom screen. And finally, up here to me or to something at a distance from you. And breathe. Notice how you feel. Throughout your day, and even as you drift off to sleep or as you lie awake in bed, before an important meeting or as you wait in line, you can call forth your inner smile and transform your experience to one of more peace, patience, pleasure, and well-being. Thank you for taking this time to feel your inner smile with me.
Thank you, Pam. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm a very humble person. I mean, really, really humble. I may even be the most humble person you've ever met. Mac Davis reinforced this in me with his 1980s pop song, "Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way." It's hard to be humble, isn't it, when you're perfect? No one will ever know. No one will ever know if it's hard to be humble when you're perfect. We arrive to each new day. Better yet, we will arrive to each new moment with what Zen Buddhists speak of as beginner's mind. Having an attitude of openness, eagerness, a lack of preconceptions when learning even at an advanced level, just as a beginner would. Because as they say, in the beginner's mind, there are many questions. In the expert's mind, there are few. It's hard to be humble when we think too highly of ourselves, but it's also hard when we deny our own power. So a good way to begin, or better yet, something to strive, if you're not there at the beginning, perhaps to strive for at the very end, is to know ourselves, our wisdom and our blind spots, our limits and our right to set limits. To be humble is to recognize that we are animals. We are atmosphere. We are water, mineral, and miracle. Sometimes when the magnitude of the cosmos is set before me like an infinite jest, in countless layers of stars or ethereal northern lights, humbleness embraces me, and my smallness feels just right. Sometimes I experience history in the same way. I look over centuries of peace and war, empires gone and come, Haydn to hip-hop, way back through Isaiah's Lamentations, indigenous celebrations, and then further back to primal pulsations of drum and heart, all the way back to the music of the cosmos. And my smallness feels just right. But sometimes I recoil from all of that. No, I am not going to be limited by the ways things have always been. I'm not going to be limited by humanity's pathetic repetition of misunderstandings and mistakes, because I'm good enough, and I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. Don't they? You know, it's hard to be humble when we're insecure. Most often, I think a lack of humility is understood as arrogance, hubris, self-importance. But rushing to the other extreme, the other end of the continuum, to be submissive and wretched and inferior, that doesn't make us humble. It's humility when we know we're not talented enough to sing at the opera, but we still sing with friends. When our knitting is not refined enough to be displayed in a museum, but we keep knitting anyway. And when the mittens turn out to be too small, we give them to someone with small hands. Jane, I apologize. No, her mom is shaking her head. All right, well, that takes some humility. She's probably heard enough from me this morning. Okay, I just thought of a story about her, and I was going to apologize for not telling her in advance, but I'm sure Mary Jane is going to tell her anyway. So, I may not remember all the details from 28 years ago, but this was the gist. It took humility that night when you, Jane, speaking to you wherever you are, were 9 months pregnant, and you drove our rusty hatchback to your night shift at the ER and found the doors had stuck and you couldn't get out. So you hauled your rather large self through the hatch and then returned by that same route in the morning, and then later that day you gave birth to Ben. I think that was an exercise in humility with a big payoff. It's humble to walk up here to sing in the choir and then realize you're wearing mismatched shoes. And you just laugh at yourself. But don't worry, choir members, I've never actually seen that. That too I just thought of this morning when I was about to put on mismatched shoes, really. It takes humility to spend less time with a friend who exhausts you. To admit that while it's often true that we can learn from people with whom we disagree, sometimes it's just all too much, and we need to step back from all those goddamn learning experiences. It takes humility to recognize circumstances in which we have been the unwitting beneficiaries of white supremacy culture, and to realize that often less is more. To not only accept the losses over which we have no control, but also sometimes to choose our losses proactively, letting go of things we really think are important, because there are just too many things in this world that are really important. In the Hebrew Scriptures, the book of Ecclesiastes reminds us, vanity of vanities, all is vanity. What does anyone gain by everything at which they toil under the sun? A generation goes, a generation comes, but the earth remains forever. The sun rises, the sun goes down, and hastens to the place from which it rises again. The wind blows from the south and goes around to the north and comes back and back, around and around. All streams run to the sea, and yet the sea is never filled. The sea sends itself back up to the clouds and returns to the streams from which it came. Now, if I were to follow that wisdom, I would find myself needing again and again to recalibrate. It's humbling when we find ourselves in need of recalibration, whether it's within our personal lives or at work, to adjust so we can find balance between taking care of others and taking care of ourselves. Our internal conversations about recalibration may make us feel uneasy. We're used to thinking of ourselves in a certain way. Our abilities, our interests, our sense of self, based on hard-learned lessons. Sometimes we have to work it out, though, through a long, awkward, vulnerable period of time. We have to work out our uncertainties in private or in public, where others might watch us do that, or where others may depend upon us being something reliable. Self-knowledge and living with our self-knowledge, the truth about ourselves, is not easy. It requires us to acknowledge our boundaries, and again, I thought of this because of the story this morning, the right to set boundaries rather than having everybody tell us what to do and be. The right to set boundaries, like saying, no, I can't, or I won't do that for you. I can't even listen right now. It's very hard to say things like that. Humiliating, even if you understand it incorrectly, humiliating rather than humbling. But that's an important distinction, because humiliation is not humility. Humiliation is about shame. Once there was a little bear named Julia. She was kind. She was a bear of goodwill toward all. But she still had some things to learn about life, like that she could love and that she could be loved. One day, the world gave her some mixed messages about this. The lesson offered by her friends and family, and by opportunities to experiment with self-expression, helped her to understand that everyone around her was still learning those same things. That one day Julia offered some lessons in setting boundaries, was offered, not that she offered, Julia was offered some opportunities to learn about setting boundaries, but she just wasn't ready yet to understand them. She was also offered a lesson in unconditional love, which for a long time yet, even today, she might still be taking for granted. We don't yet know the end of her story or of ours. It's hard to be humble when the world gives us mixed messages about what we're capable of or what we're supposed to be capable of. Whether we're guided, again, by Mac Davis, "Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way," or by Alanis Morissette, "We will love you just the way you are. If you're perfect." Maybe some of you have heard that. A very helpful way to learn about humility, generosity, to learn about our limits and our strengths, is to dwell with one another within a community that loves us and offers us opportunities to love. To love and to be loved even in our imperfection. To love and to be loved even in relationships with others who are also still learning. Such community, by my reckoning, is vital. People who allow us to grow at our own pace, while also honoring our agency and our autonomy to make decisions for ourselves. And honoring that concept, not just in a superficial way, but within the context of actually knowing each other, so we can nurture the spark of one another's precious lives. Humility is an inside job that requires supportive community. Now, don't do this yet. Have enough humility to listen to your preacher. In a moment, I will invite you to silently present yourself to one another with all of your limitations, all of your powers. Without shame, present yourself. Without judgment, welcome the fullness of each person around you by gently holding them with open hearts. And look beyond your immediate circle. There are those who you probably don't even know who have been here for decades and probably don't even know that they're here for the first time. So, those of you who are on Zoom, it's hard to look at each other, but we'll unmute you so you can take a moment to greet one another with non-judgmental acknowledgement of their personhood. So, let's stand to the extent that we're able, and for those who are not, there are also opportunities to find ways to look in one another's eyes. And now another interpretation of humility in song.
Up to thee. Hello. The chicken stayed home today. He'll be back. It's really good to see you folks. It's good to be, I'm so happy to be reminded that we belong, because I feel very much like I belong here at Buff, and I belong with you, and I belong to you, and you belong to me. It's very cool, you know, to have friends and have a community. And one of the things I really appreciate about Buff is that we belong to each other. We belong to a body. We belong to a body that serves. And one of the ways we serve is each other, and we serve the greater community in Bellingham and all around the world. And we sustain our service with a structure, which is what I get to help with, which is how do we keep our structure working the most efficiently that we can, so that we can keep doing the very amazing things that we do. That's why you're letting me talk to you right now, is so that I can bring you up to date on how we're doing with our structure, with our pledge drive, with our budget. That's a huge fraction. I think almost everybody here knows, but there might be one or two people who doesn't realize that almost all of our operating budget comes from our pledge drive. You know, we can do a lot of other fundraisers, but this is the big kahuna. You know, this is what keeps us going the way we're going. And a lot of you know that we've got difficult decisions to make this year. So we really need to get everybody on board before we start making those decisions. So this year, we're not focusing on the money. You remember some of you old timers will remember we had this thermometer over here, and we would put how much money had come in every week. And we're not doing that this year. We're counting the number of cards, the pledge cards that come in, because we want 95%. We're halfway through our pledge drive. We've got 51% in now, and we've got would like 95% of the pledge cards in in another 2 weeks, so that we can start. We're not ready to make decisions yet, but we can start forming the decisions that we have to work on. And then we will continue to keep you informed about everything that's going on. Somebody told me that some people haven't been canvassed, and I'm shocked. I have 2 people that I haven't finished canvassing yet. But if you haven't been contacted, and you want to be contacted, we would be delighted to help you with that. This is a pledge card, and there will be some blank ones. If it's not blank, please put it back in the basket. When we pick up our offering, you can take one out. You don't have to fill it out right then. You can fill it out during the coffee hour. You can give it to me. You can give it to practically anybody who's looking like they would like a pledge card. There are a lot of us. Yeah. Paul will take it. Michelle will take it. There's lots of.
Or even if you don't want to fill it out today, just put your name on it.
Yeah.
And
That'll work too.
put it in a basket on the way out.
That works
So
too.
we know
Yeah.
that it's appropriate to contact you.
Yeah, and maybe your phone number and your email address? That really speeds things up. Because we really need to hear from you. If you're canvassing, I'm going to try to get my people contacted again tonight. Go out there and contact those people, because we really need 95%, and we need them in 2 weeks, so we can make our decisions. That is what I've got to tell you. Finances at Buff are really transparent, except we're human beings, and so sometimes we think we're being transparent, but we're not quite. So you just need to ask if there's something that's confusing. Oh, if you want spreadsheets and bar graphs and pie graphs, we've got those. We're not putting them here, you're welcome. But if you want them, we've got them. So let us know. I just love you guys, and I'm so happy to be in fellowship with you. So I look forward to seeing your yellow cards. Yes, and if the ushers would come forward now, and you ushers should have in their baskets yellow cards. I see them. Yes, awesome. So feel free to, this is one of those rare moments when we encourage you to take something out of the collection basket. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Andrea. You amaze me. Every week I tell her what the theme is, and then I give her just 2 or 3 words about what I'm hoping she can find for the tone of that. And I can't remember. It was just a couple of words. I don't know if you remember what they were, but unashamed. Yes, thank you. And that what you shared today was right on. Yeah, so thank you. Just a few quick announcements before we go. Please stay for coffee hour downstairs, out the door, and downstairs right after we're done. If you are new and want to make sure you have a chance to interact with someone instead of shamefully doing this, take up a red cup, whether you put coffee in it or air or whatever. You can find out more about us at buff.org and also sign up for our Buff News listserv and our newsletter, which is in the midst of transition from being called the midweek update to something else because it's going to be monthly rather than weekly. And but if you subscribe now or go to our website and find the newsletter, there's a link there where you can make suggestions of what are we going to call it, since it's not a midweek update anymore. There's a link. You can go to the site and make suggestions, and then a couple weeks later, we'll show you all the suggestions, and we'd like to hear your preferences. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, we have our Taizé service. This is a service of candlelight and quiet, and an opportunity for gentle, repetitive songs that help us to feel close to the earth, close to one another, and to hold ourselves and to be held in the mystery. And there you are.
I'm a seasoned professional. I know where to go. Hello again. Yes, I'm still Barbara, and I'm up here because this year, once again, I have the pleasure and privilege of convening the group who is planning and putting on this year's auction across the universe, scheduled for May 4th. May the 4th be with you. Now, March is donation month, and we really need everyone at Buff to donate something to the auction so we can reach our goal of raising over $20,000. We need people with skills to donate. Bake a loaf of bread or cookies, help in the garden, offer a few hours of handy person skills. We need people who like to party to donate. Host a wine tasting or afternoon tea with music, gather folks over chili and beer, or provide a picnic at one of our beautiful parks. Now, we need people with nice items to donate: artwork, jewelry, tickets to the Pickford, the Bells, or the Roller Betties. And we need people to donate big-ticket items for the live auction. How about combining tickets, say, to Mount Baker Theater with a fancy dinner at your house or a restaurant before or after? Do you have a timeshare that you're not using that you want to donate? Please donate it to us. Now, these lovely bright forms are available for you downstairs after the service today because our Octria website is up and running. And Rena will be downstairs. She's here now, but she'll be downstairs with her computer and with these forms, with this beautiful card, to help you learn how to donate. Because we hope to get a lot of donations from members and friends, as well as from local businesses, by the end of this month, which is going to speed by, so we can move toward that event on May 4th with a great lineup of auction items. So thank you in advance for making March donate to the Buff Auction Month. It's going to be a great event. We want to see you there. All right, yes. Oh boy, yeah. And now we're going to sing a wonderful song that it's easy, so you don't really need your books. You got to sing, you got to laugh, you got to dance, but you got to do when the Spirit says do. So this one requires movement. So come on up, friends.
meet a dove who says, you start out with one thing, end up with another, and nothing's like it used to be, not even the future. Let's stand together again and circle around for freedom.
Keep us.